You built a business people love, but behind the scenes, it's all on you. Vision to Grow is your space to lead with clarity, hire with purpose, and finally breathe again. I'm Chrissy, your no fluff leadership expert, here to help you hire better and lead teams with less mess. Hello and welcome back to Vision to Grow. I'm Chrissy, and far out, I feel like this podcast episode did not want to happen today, but yeah, it's just one of those. So the printer was going off, the tech was wild. I decided that I would move my office around. I think I've just noticed a blue tack on the wall behind me. There we go. For anyone who is passionate about decor and design, that is so not me. I promise at some point I will make my home office beautiful for recording podcasts, but it's not happening today. And I actually used to go into Sydney to do my podcast recording there because I could get it to have the aesthetic that I loved. But yeah, I don't like decorating. And particularly my home office, like the rest of the house I'm on top of, but my home office I've just never gotten to. It just doesn't light me up decorating. So it's definitely getting outsourced at some point. There's other stuff on the roadmap and everything's planned in my world. But yes, anyway, I digress. Today, we are going to talk about continuous improvement. So tech issues, I've got notes today, old school with me. I feel a bit like a reporter, but I have actually done a lot of research on this episode. So definitely wanted to get on the mic and share with you. So when I'm talking about continuous improvement, what I'm talking about is in business, we've set up our business to serve. So typically my clients are all service-based business owners, and that's what I talk about generally. It's what I relate to. And it's the business that I'm in myself, as are all my clients. And typically we go in because we are interested in something we do. We want to become a coach. We want to deliver a service. And then what we realize is inevitably, as a business owner, it starts to somewhere along the lines become less about the service that we're delivering, although that is always an element of it, and more about the business in its entirety, right? So becoming that CEO and having that oversight of all the different things in your business. There's a book called The E-Myth, and he talks about the manager, the entrepreneur, and the technician. And quite often we start as a technician. He's got an amazing example in there about the lady who starts a pie shop, and she's just so passionate about making pies. And then she realizes she's actually got to run the business and all the things. And then I always refer to Gino Wickman, who talks about the visionary and the integrator. And there's so many different ways to cut it. There's Clockwork, where they talk about the queen bee. But anyway, what I'm trying to say to you is in business, there's the doing the service, there's delivering the service, and then there's all the things it takes behind the scenes to make your business run. And we all start somewhere, right? And we start with, like with myself, I, threw up the Wix website. I started posting terrible posts on Instagram. I still, Instagram to this day, I don't feel like I'm there 4 years in, and we're always improving. We're always learning. We're investing in ourselves. We're going on retreats. I mean, I'm guessing you've probably got like a post-it wall full of ideas. You want to improve. You've been to the retreat. You've got the workbook. You've got all the ideas. You've got all the list of things that you could improve, right? So in your business, you've got, I always say BAU, business as usual. It's the stuff that you deliver. And then you've got continuous improvement, which is where you're looking to uplift things. And these can be really simple things like, fully documenting your processes, working on your team communications, simplifying your systems, and then making space for improvements in your tech and giving yourself space for strategic work, right? So we're always improving, we're always growing, and we have to. Like AI is now evolving on the daily. We're ripping out old tech systems, we're putting in new ones, we're refining our processes, we're, looking at ways to make cost savings and put automations in, reduce manual processes, all the things. And the thing is, it depending on where you are in your business, but I know with a lot of clients I work with, the business owners are looking for support because they're still very much in the day-to-day of the business. So they could be still delivering their service, and even if they're not, they're still fielding every question. They're still rescheduling meetings because the operations need some firefighting. But this episode is for you if you are in that place where you're still working in the business, you want to be working on the business, you know that there's improvements to be made, everything's okay, but it's not so streamlined that allows you to step away from it, right? So what I want to talk about is why continuous improvement feels so out of reach for so many business owners, even for incredibly smart, capable, visionary business owners. And they know this stuff. It's not like people don't know. It's not like they don't know that they've got like 5 different tech platforms where they can consolidate it into one, right? But the thing is, even if you've got a small team, and even if you've got support, what ends up happening is your team's time gets taken up with just running the business and all of the day-to-day stuff, and not necessarily in lifting it and moving forwards. And you might even have an OBM and they may be taking on projects, but of course your bread and butter, your service that you're delivering, is always going to take precedent, and that is okay. But we need to look at a solution for this. And I am in the process of breaking that cycle, right? And I'm breaking that cycle on the daily for my clients. And the way that we do that is in our model called the fractional integrator and operations support model. So we're going to talk about that, but I'm going to dive into the different parts of the things we need to look at when we're looking at continuous improvement. So I'm going to look at capacity, and we're going to look at what burnout and juggling multiple things actually does to your brain. We're going to talk about why women founders feel this harder than their male counterparts. We're going to talk about your business coach and where they fit into this and how they're going to give you all the ideas, but how are you going to actually fix it and get it done? So we talked about that retreat, right? Then we're going to talk about what changed for me and my clients when I made the switch. So when I started to realize that the continuous improvements piece wasn't necessarily always getting done for me and for my clients. Like for me, I feel like I do chip away at it quite a bit, but you know, it still needs a proper process and a system. And what it looks like in practice when you do implement continuous improvement continuously. And then the tools, some of the tools that we use, I'm not going to touch on that too much because it's never about the actual tool. It's about the systems and how you do it. And look, I really want this episode to be your permission slip to say, okay, I'm going to focus on this stuff. I'm going to have time aside to do this. And yes, we have our CEO days. Yes, we have our ops, but are you really taking the time out to map out what you want to improve? Is there a roadmap for that? And does that see you getting out of the weeds of your business and doing what you love yourself? So the real problem isn't knowledge, it's capacity. So I had a client recently. She's absolutely brilliant. She's a high impact founder. She told me that she wanted to step out of her business and she wants to use her time because her business has boomed over the past 12 months. She wants to use her time to step into thought leadership and create content. And that is the primary focus of what she wants to do. She does speaking gigs as well. She's obviously got her service that she delivers, but she's got a team that can deliver the massive chunks of that. Are they doing it? We'll go on to that, right? When I looked under the hood of her business, what I found was she was still touching every single email thread in her business. And that's the thing most of the founders I work with do. And I have had to put processes in place to step away from that recently. And the business owners I work with, they're not new to what they do. And they're not usually on their own. They've hired VAs. They've maybe had OBMs in the past. They've taken courses. They've got the business coaches. They know that they should be not in their emails and, you know, a prisoner to their inbox. They know that they need to put in a system. But the thing is, they're still running on that hamster wheel of like reacting to those emails, because continuous improvement to actually improve things, to actually get out of your inbox, that takes capacity, not just capability. I'll say that again. That takes capacity, not just capability. Most female founders I know are already stretched thinner than a Canva template during launch week. So what I'm saying is you need to hold space for continuous improvement, but there's more to it than that. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So if you think in the context of that stage of business where you're maybe like 4 to 7 years in, you've nailed it, you've got an amazing business, you've got incredible clients, but the back end of your business still feels like a bit of a dumpster fire. There's a reason for that, right? Because if your CEO is really broad, it's going to cause you a little bit of pain. And I'm going to nerd out with you for a sec, right? As I said, I've got my papers, I did a lot of research on this episode, and we're going to talk about burnout, right? But burnout in the context of capacity and a busy CEO role, when you're still scaling, you're still growing, you're bringing team on. So we're going to talk about burnout in terms of that capacity and switching from job to job. So if you're switching from day-to-day delivery to process improvement, to serving your clients, to planning your speaking gig, to being in your membership, to being in your like done with you offer, when you're constantly context switching from client delivery to team comms, to Slack, to sales, Your brain's prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, decision-making, and memory, it gets overloaded and overwhelmed. You start to default to habits and short-term fixes instead of long-term improvements. And that is based on research from Neuroscience Research. It's a magazine. Now, I talked about this before, but when you go on holiday and you're like stepping away from your business, your ideas can flourish. You go really into that visionary space because you're not reacting to your emails. You're away from it. You're not serving your clients. You've made a plan. You're out of it, right? Hopefully. And it does different things to your brain chemistry. It's like when you go away on retreat and you're away from your phone, like you just wire differently. It feels so good energetically, right? So under stress, well, I know for myself, right? And I'm assuming this is for you too. Like if you're really, really busy and your brain is on, it starts to affect your sleep, right? Because again, you're like diving from this part of the business to that part of the business. And when you're under stress and sleep gets compromised, and it's not just irritating, it's got knock-on effects. Like I'm not saying anything new here, but sleep deprivation is going to cause stress. It's going to reduce your productivity. It's going to reduce your ability to problem solve, and it's going to reduce your executive functioning. Like I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I'm going somewhere with this, and it's important. Less sleep equals more rework, more delays, and shorter fuse with your team. So you've hired support, but you can't support the support, right? So then you might end up diving back and doing the thing anyway. So this is from the Sleep Science Institute. They talk about this rework, delays, the shorter fuse. And the same research shows it's actually going to decrease efficiency up to 40% if you're stressed, which is leading to burnout, which is leading to lack of sleep. So it's all a bit of a vicious cycle, right? So if you're bouncing around between 19 different tabs and thinking you're killing it, well, you're not. Your brain is in survival mode. So no, you're not failing at operations. The system is failing you, or not the system, your system, right? We believe there's a system in business, but we need your system to be right for you. I talked about the energy equation last week. We need to set up systems that work for you as the CEO with the business that you want with your energy levels. So women are going to find this harder. The load is heavier for women in life. Like I talk about this frequently, and it's such an important message to get out there. Stats show women do 2.8% more unpaid care work globally. And in Australia, that is over 4 hours a day on average of unpaid work. So that would be like housework, running the kids around, looking after elderly parents, cooking. Like amazing. If you've got a partner who steps it up, fantastic. I'm just talking stats. And I'm a single mum in my household. I'm literally doing all of it. So I have to hold space for things that I need to do and work with my energy. There's emotional labor, mental load, and endless invisible to-dos stacked on top of businesses you're building. Like your business is one part of your life. It feels a big part if you're really passionate about it, but it is not happening in isolation. And under pressure, many of us are going to shift into fawn mode, right? Where we over-function. So look at fawn mode. It's really interesting. Give it a Google. We take on more, we say yes to more, and we micromanage more. We start like over excelling because we're stressed, like we do more hours, and then it becomes this cycle. And I know it, I'm there. I go through waves of it, and everyone does, and that's okay. You just need to have a plan to get out. Like you can be in hustle mode for a little bit, it's okay, but you need to have a plan to get out of hustle mode, right? It's not, and this is not happening because we want control, but it's because we're afraid of what happens if we let go. And I know this because I had a room full of women at Leadership Essentials who were like, well, what if no one can do it as well as me? And I'm like, really? You can do every part of your business the best. You've got high standards, amazing. I get it. But there is certainly part of your business that you can give away and give individuals in your business or your service providers ownership. So they've got ownership. You're still going to be informed. You're still going to be consulted with, but you're not doing it all and someone else owns it, which is going to free you up to do the work you actually want to do. If you don't want to be the bottleneck, but then you're still checking every bit of work that's going out the door, you don't want to be buried in your inbox, but you're still checking your inbox regularly and replying. Well, you know, are we doing what we say we want to do? That's what I'm asking you. It's not a weakness, right? This is trauma-informed patterns. And this is in line with the research. I don't throw trauma about lightly, right? I did a whole heap of research of continuous improvement and what's stopping us in repetitive processes. Like, we default because we're stressed and we're tired. So we have a trauma response to being stressed and tired, and we do more. And we're like, if we do more, it's going to get better. And we need awareness around that. This is a really important conversation. So I'm going to talk about business coaches, and I'm not bagging business coaches out. I have business coaches. I will always work with a business coach, right? We go to business coaches to solve the problems in our business and get support with someone who knows more than us. And I love that. And I have incredible business coaches, and I'm not going to name names in this because I don't want it to sound disrespectful or but you can figure it out. Like, I love my business coaches and I follow them still, and I work with different people for different purposes and different stages of business. But here's what the coach can't do for you, because it's not their business model, and they will tell you that. They're not going to implement the strategy that they are giving you. They're going to give you amazing strategy, but they're going to expect you and your team to implement it. Like, maybe ask them, see if I'm wrong. And if they do implement it, amazing. I'm sure it costs quite a bit of money. They're there to give you the vision, the direction, and a plan. But are they going to jump into your CRM system and build out an onboarding flow? No. They might give you a framework. It's still got to get built in your tech platforms, right? Are they going to run your BAU comms to your clients? Are they going to run your team? Are they going to update your SOPs? Hell no. They're going to give you a framework, and you can maybe tailor that. And that's great. But someone still needs to take ownership of that, right? You don't necessarily need more strategy. You need strategy, but you're going to need some implementation power along the way. And that's why I'm talking about fractional integrators. So I'm going to give you a bit of a step change here and talk about a little bit about me and my journey and how this all fits in. So I built my business while pregnant. I started thinking about the business while I was pregnant, right? So I was a mum of a 2.5-year-old little boy. I was stepping into mat leave, and I was thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do the big corporate job? The world was changing. It was that we were going into that big second Sydney COVID lockdown. I knew that I was going to end up being a single mum. This is not the space to really talk about that bit, but that was sort of where I got to with business. So I decided I'm going to start a business. I'm going to try and use my year of mat leave, like so many women do, to try and set up a business. And I started up a hiring business. And at first it was all short-term hiring projects, right? So high cash flow, but it was very that feast or famine sort of stress. And it wasn't going to serve me as a single mom. And it has taken me such a long time to figure out what the alternative is, right? So I started hiring for clients, and then I started coaching clients on how to hire themselves with courses and one-to-ones. And then I started coaching clients how to do operations, because we were doing that anyway, and it got broader. But eventually what I saw was two things. So one, I was coaching clients how to fix their ops, but not necessarily living in a model that served me, right? Clients were getting amazing results. They were happy. And the thing is, the clients loved what I was saying and the strategy I was giving them, but they didn't really have anyone to implement it. And that was causing frustration for them and for me. Like, anyone who loves to support business owners, they're there to get results, right? So I could coach, but I was like, I just want to get my hands on it and do it myself, or like find people to do the work for them. And that's where the hiring thing fits in, right? I'm like, right, you need to hire this person. I'm going to hire them. They're going to do it. But the thing is, a lot of the time, the business owners don't want to manage the people. Like, this is all the sort of background to it. So over recent months, I've been testing a new model, which is called fractional integrator and ops support. And basically, I pitched this to existing clients that I worked with in the past, and they freaking loved it. So what a fractional integrator is if you read Gino Wickman, you've got your visionary business owner, your CEO, who is like face of the business, big ideas, picture person. And then they have a layer between the rest of their team, which is their integrator. So the visionary and the integrator work together the visionary comes up with the ideas, they come up with where they want the business to go, and then they work it out with the integrator. And the integrator is all about action, making it happen, and managing the team to get it done. Visionary is not a details person, they're big picture. Integrator's business person, getting it done, problem solving. And the thought of the fact that I get to do that as a job, like I get to solve these amazing women's problems and make it happen, so exciting. Different to an OBM, or there are OBMs who can work to that strategic level, but it's not just me, right? So I work as the visionary, and the client usually already has team. They've already got a team who are delivering their services and making the day-to-day happen. But I've got a team that then makes the continuous improvement happen and then refines all of the processes. I hope that makes sense. So now when we're working on these services with clients, we're stabilizing their operations. We're building systems that work without them. We're managing their teams, platforms, and projects end to end so they can finally lead and not just operate, right? So if they've got the team already that delivers the service that they deliver, even if they deliver a part of it, and then they've got the team, which is me and my team, who continually focus on process improvement, they're always moving forward. And continuous improvement has got a big focus on return on investment as well. So we're not improving just for the sake of improving. We're looking to reduce costs. We're looking to streamline, and we're looking for ways to make sure that the team stay really happy in their jobs and they're not doing boring, repetitive admin tasks that burn them out too, so that you get more support and you're kind of leveling up your team at the same time, which is freaking awesome, right? So one of my clients said, I wish I'd done this before, I'm so excited about this. I just having this weight taken off of me, something I wanted to do before, it's so powerful, which is awesome, right? So I'm giving you this context to say, what does it look like? Like, if you get support, if you focus on continuous improvement, are you going to have someone within your business to focus on that? Or are you going to have someone external to focus on that, right? Or are you going to completely step away from all the other stuff and keep driving this forward? Like, what does it look like? So what it looks like for us is I work with the clients as the strategic integrator who translates visions into operations. Then you have a whole team underneath me. So I'm the strategic integrator. You get an integrator, which is like your OBM meets your account manager meets your team lead on steroids. I've hired them. They're freaking amazing. I can't wait to share more on that. That's a whole episode though. And then a pool of VAs, technical VAs, admin support, graphic design. Like, it's basically your whole process improvement uplift buddy team, supporting your team and back up to your team as well, right? To your internal operations team. So clients work with me on a 3-month minimum to stabilize their back end. And then we make sure you scale and we revisit it all of the time. So it basically means you get to get rid of project management, building out operations manuals, SOPs, uplifting your processes that are already there. And then your team get to do the actual do. And then you get to do the visionary work you actually want to do. And tech stack process improvement, I'm actually going to park that for today. I was going to talk about it, but I don't want this episode to be 4 hours long. I'm clearly very excited about this stuff. But what I'm saying to you, is I'll give you the context of how we deliver it, right? But how do you deliver it? So if you are the visionary business owner that I think you are, you have a role, and your role is to be the face of your business, to talk about your business, to show up on your socials, to be a thought leader, to create content so people know you exist. And yes, maybe it's the high level strategic part of whatever your zone of genius is, whether that's allied health, whether you're the face of a big, massive industrial cleaning business or treatment business, whether you are a social media queen, and it is still your thoughts. But if you want to scale, it's not going to be just you anymore, right? And then are you going to be the person that then, on top of all of that stuff, because that is a big job, then is fixing all the problems that you learned about in your business retreat? No. And even if you're given that strategy from your business owner, are you then going to be the linchpin that cascades it? Or are you going to be like, here's the problem, go solve it? It's just something to think about, because I want you to have the job and the business that you want. And I've been working on this stuff too. I think everyone goes through stages of changes in business where they're taking on more than they should, and they are overloaded and stuff slips. And especially if your personal life also gets hectic in the meantime as well, you're going to be in that fawn response, and we don't want that for you, right? We want you to love what you do. So nobody has to earn a rest, right? I want this to be your permission slip. You don't need to prove you can do everything to be worthy. You can. The clients I work with are so capable. They've gotten this far often on their own or with a very small team, but they need to get out of their own damn way, because if you can get this far, if you can build the clients, all you've got to do is get backup and systems to push you to that next level. It's backing yourself to know that your clients love you. You've got the audience. You've got to let go of the reins a little bit to push to that next level. And it is going to be so epic when you get there. You don't have to earn that rest. You don't have to prove you can do it or to be worthy. You built your business for freedom, not to become an unpaid interim in your own company because everything defaults back to you. So this is your permission slip to let go of the stuff that doesn't need to run through you, to let someone else hold operations if that's not what you want to do, and to let your vision take center stage again, or for the first time. If you're nodding along, I want to give you an invite to book a free clarity call. So I don't do this often on the podcast, but this is a really exciting time for us, and we do have spots for this service that I'm talking about. And I think this is going to be the week before the website with this new service even pops up. So if you're an avid podcast listener, this is your time to hop in and book a call with me right before they go. Like I said, I trialed this service with clients I worked with before and all of the spots booked out. And now I've scaled the team, so we've got more availability, but it will go because it's awesome. So listen, you've done enough shoulding on yourselves. You should do this. You should improve things. But if you've literally not got the bandwidth to do it and you don't want to, that's okay. Find another way. You've done enough shoulding. Let's make something actually shift and get you the support you deserve so you can step into the visionary business owner that you truly love. I'd love to hear your takeaway on this episode. I'm not going to do like a wrap up on this one. I want to know from you what landed. Like, are you going to step into that process continuous improvement piece yourself? Are you going to keep drip feeding it to a VA? Or are you going to take action and bring someone else in to do it? And what does that look like? I hope this episode resonated with you. I'm Chrissy. Until next time.
Audience exclusive.